The Giants by after picking up a half game on the off day yesterday. The Giants falling to Pittsburgh. They'll play later tonight, so the Dodgers with a chance to draw even with San Francisco as Chase Utley makes his return to Philadelphia, the ballpark where he spent the first decade plus of his career, and expects to get a great hand when he leads things off for the Dodgers in the top of the first inning. And we say welcome inside Citizens Bank Park with Oral Hershiser and Kelly Tennant. I'm Joe Davis. Plenty of Chase Utley talk tonight. Should be a fantastic atmosphere as they welcome him back in. But big picture, Oral, month and a half left. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's two times in a baseball player's life you can identify that baseball is fun to play. For a big leaguer coming out of spring training, making that roster, beginning of the season, all in front of you. And then August and September when the games really mean something, a focus, a finish line, and a prize at the end, hopefully, for these Dodgers.
Should be a lot of fun tonight to get it started with a 7-game road trip, 3 here in Philadelphia and 4 in Cincinnati. All about Chase tonight, the man they call him around here. It's the Dodgers and the Phillies, the first of 3 coming up. Citizens Bank Park tonight, the series opener. Dodgers coming a half game back of the Giants in the West and a chance to draw even for the second day since mid-May. And this is the starting lineup Dave Roberts will send out there to try and accomplish that. The lineup is sponsored, as always, by Honda. Chase Utley makes his return here to Philadelphia at the leadoff spot. Corey Seager hits second. Then it's Justin Turner, Josh Reddick, Adrian Gonzalez, and Yasmani Grandal in the middle of Roberts' order. Jock Peterson has been as hot as any hitter in baseball over the last few weeks. Then it's Howie Kendrick and Kenta Maeda, who does have a home run this season.
Well, the Dodgers looking up at the scoreboard as you look at a shot of their bench, and they are watching up there because there's going to be a video honoring Chase Utley, I think, right before his first at bat. It's been all Chase all day here in Philadelphia, greeting old friends from people in the locker room attendants to ushers to everyone, and he's got his game face on now, and he's been out there in the dugout getting ready to play this game, but there's going to be a lot going on around him about him.
He's helped his team to this 65-52 record. That includes taking 2 of 3 from these Phillies last week. Philadelphia comes in 56-63 in 4th place in the National League East. Utley and the Dodgers for the 2nd time in the last week will see Vince Velasquez, who's 24 years old, out of Pomona, California. His start against the Dodgers last Tuesday was the worst of his career. Gave up 9 runs on 11 hits, and that included 3 homers.
Yeah, 3 guys got him for the home run. He lives with the high fastball. Mostly that's where he gets his biggest whiff percentages. He needs to use more of his secondary stuff. His manager even had a quote after the outing against the Dodgers that he needed to use more of his changeup, but unbelievably the statistics showed that he did use it, but maybe didn't use it properly.
Making his 21st start here in his first season in Philadelphia. Came over from the Astros during the offseason. So Chase Utley, 37-year-old, originally from Southern California, originally drafted by the Dodgers, but went to UCLA and then was drafted out of there by the Phillies and spent the first 13 years of his major league career in a Phillies uniform. They are excited to welcome him back to Citizens Bank Park tonight.
For the Los Angeles Dodgers, number 26, second baseman, Chase Utley.
And nobody hates the spotlight more than Chase Utley, but even he recognized what kind of a moment that was and gave proper thanks to this Philadelphia crowd, which gave proper thanks to him for his 13 seasons in a Phillies uniform. More than 1,500 games as a Philly. A 6-time All-Star that included those 5 consecutive seasons from 2006 to 2010, and it of course included that World Series championship in 2008. He waits on this 1-1 from Vince Velasquez, and it's 1-2.
We've only had a couple years to admire his talents and his leadership, and really at the end of his career here, and he's going to extend it as long as possible, but the appreciation shown for a minute 25 here in Philadelphia for everything that he accomplished here in a Phillies uniform.
Made his debut in Philadelphia in 2003. His first major league hit was a grand slam. Did it at Veterans Stadium. And that was here when the Phillies opened this ballpark a couple of years later. On 2-2. Utley takes strike 3. The Phillies defense brought to you by Clamato. One of his longtime teammates starts at first, and Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard over there, and really kind of hanging on by his fingernails with his career, batting below 200, only 250 at bats this year, but still part of one of the original guys through those heydays for the Phillies. Carlos Ruiz, Chooch, and him are the only 2 left.
Howard's gotten hot over the last couple of weeks and earning a start tonight. Corey Seager cues it foul for strike one. Seager brings in a 6-game hitting streak, hitting .462 during that run. There's an 0-1. That wraps through the back door for strike two.
Dodger notes today headline, just call him Roy. Speaking of the rookie of the year for Corey Seager. It looks like as he continues, he could get that wrapped up. And I think the conversation changes to MVP voting. If this season continues the way it is, I think rookie of the year will be a given. And you'll start to look at even higher honors than that.
Dodgers have twice as many rookie of the year winners as any other franchise. 16 of them. Nobody since 1996 though, and Todd Hollandsworth won the 5th consecutive rookie of the year for a Dodger. Seager checks his swing, and it's 2-2.
It was a great check on a changeup at 90 miles an hour. Vasquez can top out at around 98, so he takes a little off 8 miles an hour with that movement. It's an outstanding pitch and a good take.
Well, Velasquez is a Southern California guy out of Pomona, California, and that game that he had against the Dodgers last Tuesday, which was by far the worst of his career, that came in front of about 100 friends and family that he put tickets aside for. Sure, he would agree. Couldn't have picked the worst time to have a disastrous outing. Trying to get back on track. 2nd straight start against the Dodgers. Corey Seager battling him. 2-2.
The hardest part about that outing for Vince would be not pitching poorly, which happens to all of us, but going out in the tunnel after the game and greeting all those friends and family as they're waiting for you.
Yeah, sorry.
It's so hard to go around and thank him for coming and apologize for not having a better showing.
Here's another 2-2 to Seager, and he got him with a breaking ball. Back-to-back Ks to start Vince's night, his 2nd start against the Dodgers in 8 days. And of course they all assure you it's fine, right? We just enjoyed watching you. We're proud of you.
He wishes it would have started out like this and continued like this. He's going to feature that fastball up to 98 miles an hour. Gets a lot of whiff percentage with that. He's got a curveball, a slider, and a changeup also.
Here's one of the guys that homered against him last week. Turner, Grandal, and Kendrick all went deep against him. Started him with a breaking ball. Strike one. Since June 7th, Justin Turner leading the National League in homers and in RBIs. And that is even with the last 2 games off for Turner after he suffered that bruised hand in Friday's game when he was jammed by a fastball.
I got to look at his hand last night. We both ate at the same restaurant. As they were walking out, we were just kind of chatting a little bit. I said, well, no early BP today. He goes, maybe no BP at all. It
worked out well where he was able to have the back-to-back days out of the starting lineup, and then the off day followed it. So 3 days of rest for Turner.
It was still a little puffy last night, but he said it's good enough to go. You see a little padding on that bat there above his right hand. You had a funny story about him getting jammed. He thought about, you know, I didn't mind getting jammed, but I did mind that it was on a 3-1 fastball. 3-1 fastball, you shouldn't get beat.
Well, Velasquez trying to work a 1-2-3 first inning, and his 2-2 is down and away to run it full at 98 on the gun.
Sounded low. Good eye.
Didn't miss by much. Eyes back with a payoff. And Turner grounds it softly foul.
When you've got a bruise on your upper hand. Of course, you don't want to get jammed again and feel that again. And also anything off the end of the bat's not going to feel real good either. Justin hoping for solid contact for sure.
And Velasquez strikes out the side in the first. That included a strikeout of Chase Utley, but bigger than those 3 Ks in the frame. A minute 15 standing ovation from this Philadelphia crowd. Leading the majors, scoring more than 6 runs per game this month. And it's Cesar Hernandez bringing in a 21-game on-base streak to lead it off. Then the All-Star Herrera. Altair hits third. Franco, Howard, and Rupp in the middle of the order with Galvis and Borges in front of Vince Velasquez. And they, for the second time in 8 days, face the 28-year-old from Japan, Kenta Maeda, who got the win against Philadelphia last Tuesday thanks largely to the run support. A 9-3 win. All 3 runs that he allowed came off home runs. 1 from Altair, 1 from Galvis.
And Kenta really wants to go deeper into this game. He understands that Clayton Kershaw is down and has been down for a while, and this rotation has not gone deep into games. So solid outings like his last one. I know 5 innings and gives up 3 earned runs, but if you go 6 or 6 1/3, it reads a lot better, it feels better, and the bullpen gets that extra inning of rest, which they have been worked very heavily.
As starting pitchers have failed to record an out in the 5th inning 6 times in the last 13 games, and that's included Saturday and Sunday, where McCarthy only went 1 2/3, and Brett Anderson went just the 1 inning before the bullpen got to work. On 0-2, over the inside corner for strike 3. Misses spot badly, but caught the inside corner of the plate to retire Hernandez. And now the Dodger defense, brought to you by Clamato. Good to see Justin Turner back at the hot corner.
And you worry about his hand over there as far as the throwing, and he doesn't have anything on it right now. So took a little infield during BP, got his throwing all down, says he's ready to go defensively and offensively.
So on gone, and here's Odubel Herrera. '24-year-old All-Star for the Phillies, their lone selection. Had a great first half during that All-Star bid, but has not been the same guy lately. Over the last month plus, he's hitting only .231. His OPS has dropped about 200 points from the mark that helped make him an All-Star. And he waits on this 0-1 from Maeda.
Young guys who make an all-star team, it's a very heady experience, and sometimes you can get that hangover. We talk about the hangover from home run hitting contests from all-star games into second halves for guys they worry about, but it's also the same with young guys coming out of that heady experience. Jock Peterson last year, kind of a tailspin after his all-star selection. Corey Seager has not hit that jinx at all. He's done very, very well, and Jock has made huge strides this year. It's not something that is rare, but it's something you definitely try to avoid.
Maeda brings him a 2-1. Over the outside corner for strike 2, and during the recent road trip for Philadelphia, he was even benched for a few games. Pete McCannon, his manager, said maybe he'll come in and ask why he's not playing, and they could have a little discussion about it. Still looking for consistency out of the young player, both in his approach at the plate and in his overall focus.
And how many times have we seen that, where guys have tremendous ability, but then the league adjusts back to them and they've got to make some changes themselves. And sometimes it is in work ethic and preparation, because you have to realize and understand what the league is now doing, and to realize that and understand it, it might take a little different and more preparation.
And for Herrera, success really happened overnight. He was a Rule 5 pick of the Phillies prior to last season. The Rangers let him go. Phillies picked him up. Had a nice rookie season and an all-star here in his second year.
Oh, Joe, this is an interesting time for the Dodgers, because you're playing teams that you really should beat, and you're going on the road, and you're only a half a game out of first place, and by the end of this game you could be tied for first, because the Giants don't play till 10 o'clock Eastern time. So the Dodgers can be laying in their beds tonight seeing what the Giants are doing as they watch them.
Jeff Samardzija goes for the Giants tonight. Jamison Taillon counters for Pittsburgh, who's won 3 in a row now. And Maeda strikes out Herrera. We've not seen a ball put in play in this game yet. 5 batters and 5 strikeouts.
Duplicate scorecards, reverse Ks to the leadoff hitters, now swinging Ks to both second hitters. See if Maeda can match Velasquez in striking out this third hitter.
Yeah, the strikeout to walk ratio for Maeda over his last now 6+ starts, really impressive. 37 strikeouts to only 3 walks.
Getting more swings and misses on his fastball.
Aaron Altair taking a breaking ball low for ball 1 and using that fastball more, trusting the fastball more.
April through July, only 17.6% swings and misses on the fastball. In August, 26% swings and misses on the fastball. So throwing it more often, and it has become more effective.
Here's his 1-0, and Altair swings and misses, fooled on a breaking ball, 1-1.
You might see a reverse order, though, on the fastball usage tonight with a young Philly team that's aggressive, where you do see more curveballs and sliders, knowing that they're going to start the bat as soon as they see the ball.
Like that?
Yep. And when you can read a hitter that they're in swing mode, it's a lot easier to pitch, because now you can just make balls look like strikes, end up balls, and you can get the swings and misses or the weak hit balls. It's the batters that are up there taking a read on you. Those are the hardest ones to understand how to pitch.
Coming inside on 1-2, 2-2.
Very much a show me pitch from Kenta.
Got Hernandez looking, got Herrera swinging, and his 2-2 to Aaron Altair. The check swing roller to Seager. 1-2-3 go the Phillies here in the first, and on to the second in Philly in a scoreless game. So much to see here in Philadelphia. How about the Rockies statue downtown? Here in a scoreless game in the second. Dodgers trying to move into a first-place tie with the Giants. San Francisco lost late last night, right after the Dodgers had arrived here in Philadelphia on their travel day. And so the Dodgers now with a chance to draw into a tie for only the second day since mid-May. Josh Reddick looks at ball one from Vince Velasquez, who struck out the side in the first. So the Dodgers trying to tie the Giants. The Phillies, meanwhile, well, they're 15 games back in the division and on the very fringes of the wild card race. They've won 4 in a row and are 8-4 in the month of August.
6.5 back, but that doesn't sound like a lot with this many games to go, but it is a lot when you have to jump over so many teams. But I'm sure the Phillies would love to see progress as these youngsters get experience.
One of the youngest teams in the majors, the Phillies are. They're the wild card standings. If the season ended today, Dodgers would play either the Marlins or the Cardinals in that wild card game. Phillies are next on the list. 2-2.
When you're 6.5 back and you have to jump over so many teams, you really have to reel off like 10 in a row. Because then probably, you know, maybe the best team behind you wins 6 during that time, and you gain 4 games in a hurry, and all of a sudden you're not jumping over as many teams. But to play just above 500, play 600-700 balls, not enough.
Reddick hammers the ball to the opposite field, sending Herrera back on the track, and it is pulled in by Odubel Herrera. Reddick robbed of extra bases for the first out of the second.
Just a wonderful play by Herrera and a perfect swing by Josh Reddick. Fastball away that he just lets the pitcher supply the power. Just not quite enough to reach that 387 mark, but the all-star who's in a batting slump makes a wonderful play there on the track.
Helping Velasquez. Herrera, one of the great arms in the game so far this season. Adrian Gonzalez looks at a strike. Shows some of the range and ability to track down a ball in a gap there. And he is a converted infielder. So it's only been within the last couple of years that he's started playing in the outfield. Gonzalez slaps it down the left field line, but foul, and it's 0-2. Adrian really swinging a hot bat. He's got an 8-game hitting streak. Doubled twice against Velasquez last Tuesday. A .296 average. The highest that it's been since May. Velasquez home with an 0-2. That slipped out of his hand, ball one.
Really a Chase Utley night here in Philadelphia, but Gonzo, after arriving here in Philly, took a large contingent of youngsters on the Dodger team out to dinner. It was a good 16 of them or so, showing his veteran leadership and letting the kids know that they're part of the team down this stretch run.
Unable to lay off that one. Velasquez has his 4th K.
The movement on this one got Adrian. Started as a strike, ends up as a ball, and it was wicked.
So far, much different this time around for Vince Velasquez, who gave up the career high 9 runs against the Dodgers on Tuesday last week. 5 up, 5 down this time around. Yasmani Grandal is one of the 3 players to take him deep last week. Although that doesn't make Velasquez unique. Grandal's been doing that to a lot of guys over the last month and a half. 11 home runs since the start of July. 1-1.
They're tied for the NL lead in home runs in the second half, and slugging percentage right up there also. Since the 31 games since June 30th, he has been dominant at the plate.
That really kind of goes back to right when Adrian Gonzalez got hot as well. A lot of guys in the lineup got hot there. That also corresponds with when Clayton Kershaw went down.
Clayton's last outing was June 26th. If you talk to Justin Turner or some of the guys in the locker room, the leadership core, other than the coaching staff and of course manager Dave Roberts, who's done an amazing job. We talk about when Clayton went down, it was just about, let's make sure we're near first place or in first place when he comes back for the big fella.
Grandal bounces one into center for a base hit. And that overshift on as far as where Hernandez was positioned at second. Grandal's able to find a window.
The other thing that Justin said was everybody can do just a little bit more, and Yasmani Grandal beating this shift is a little bit more right here as this three-hopper finds its way to the outfield grass.
I guess by today's standards, we can't really call that a shift, can we?
Yeah,
just tilt it a little bit.
Overplay.
Yeah. Yeah, so you go back to the beginning of July when all these guys started getting hot. The Dodgers are #2 in the National League in runs per game. Prior to that, they were 11th in the National League in runs per game. Jock Peterson taking strike one.
And a lot of that can be attributed to the bottom end of the order here, with Yasmani getting hot, Jock being more consistent, a bat as powerful and as consistent as Howie Kendrick hitting in the 8-hole tonight. He easily could be in the 2-hole. He easily could be in the 5-hole.
Two on Peterson. Entering today, here are the numbers since Kershaw last pitch. Now, starters have not been particularly good, and especially the issue has been the inability to get deep in games. But the bullpen has been very good during this stretch as well, like they've been much of the season. The offense, as we've been talking about, as good as any in baseball over the last month and a half to help overcome Kershaw's absence.
One of the #1 places a young manager or any manager will get critiqued is in his management of the bullpen. And I'll tell you what, Dave Roberts, and with the help of Rick Honeycutt, has done an outstanding job wandering through all the bodies and situations for a first time around.
5 Ks through 2 innings for Vince Velasquez. Well, we go to the bottom of the second in Philly, no score. 16 times this season, Kenta Maeda has pitched following a Dodger loss, and the Dodgers are 10-6 in those games.
You know what? Coming over here from Japan, the change in culture, becoming a Dodger, knowing that he's been right into the rotation, he has dealt with pressure, and he continues to deal with pressure, and following those losses, he understands. And remember also, he's got an extra day's rest here, and he's always been better with more rest.
Which is, of course, what he's used to coming over from Japan, where he was a star. The Japanese Central League in his 8 seasons there. And he delivers ball 1 to the cleanup man, Maikel Franco. Franco, Howard, and Rupp to bat in this inning for the Phillies. You, of course, think of Clayton Kershaw as the stopper. And we're talking about the Dodger offense stepping up in his absence. When that stopper role of pitching a good game when your team really needs you, Kenta Maeda has somewhat stepped into that void. On 2-0. Drops in a breaking ball, strike 1.
I think the stopper role is something you look at from a distance, but if you really drop from 10,000 feet down onto the game, you hope every pitcher that takes the mound thinks they're the stopper, and you want that attitude because it's the only game on earth you can win that night. You really can't wait for the Clayton game, and even though the wait has been a long time lately.
2-2 on Franco.
But when you step back as a general manager, as a fan, and see how your rotation plays out, you do look to that rock, that foundational piece. And Kenta's got to know that his rock got a little bigger when Clayton went down.
And he paints the outside corner. He's struck out all 4 Phillies so far.
Fastball away, and we've said the fastball's gotten more effective after a lot of encouragement from Rick Honeycutt to use it and to not lose confidence in it. Kenta has listened to his coach and his manager and has done a very nice job with it.
I said he struck out all 4. He got a ground out from Altair to finish the first, so 3 Ks for Maeda. And he heard the extra ovation from this Phillies crowd in the same way they appreciate what Chase Utley did. They appreciate everything Ryan Howard's done in his career. Kenta gets in on him on the first pitch, and in left center it's Kendrick.
When you hear a Phillies crowd cheer somebody that's hitting below 200 at this point in the season, you know it's about appreciation. Normally they're going to let you have it, but I think these Phillies fans have really started to understand and embrace the fact that they are in a rebuilding project, and they don't really have their Phillies fan face on right now as far as their judgmental selves that they can be here in this town.
Cameron Rupp with the bases empty and 2 gone in a scoreless game in the second. They are the youngest roster in the majors right now, and that's extra significant because only 3 years ago they were the 3rd oldest roster in the majors. Breaking ball lifted in the air to deep center, sending Peterson back at the wall. It's gone, and the Phillies lead 1-0.
And Yasmani are trying to use this curveball to steal strikes early in the count, but sometimes when you face a catcher that understands game plans and he's seen 5 hitters before him and your pattern, it looked like to me he was absolutely sitting all over that. Usually a dead red hitter that was sitting soft on the first pitch.
14th home run of the season for Rupp. The first base runner against Maeda is the first run against Maeda. Freddie Galvis takes strike 1. Now Rupp, one of the guys who has been, it's hard to call it part of the youth movement because he's 27, but he's taken over the starting catching duties from one of the guys that was partially responsible for them being one of the oldest teams a few years ago. He's taken over for Carlos Ruiz. Galvis, who's batting right now, is the shortstop. He took over for Jimmy Rollins. Saw Cesar Hernandez lead off. He took over for Chase Utley. 2-1.
And they'll get a little younger when Ryan Howard's no longer at first base.
Sharing time there right now with Tommy Joseph. Galvis hits a soft fly ball to center. Peterson paused while he searched for it, found it, and caught it to end the second inning. Cameron Rupp hits a home run against Maeda, and after two, the Phillies lead 1-0.
Then we had an opportunity to see an incredible video tribute to start this third inning. Chase Utley welcomed home with open arms, and when I talked to him last week about his role and the change in his game from playing with the Phillies to the Dodgers, he said, now I'm a mentor, and that's something that I totally embrace. And Corey Seager saying that he's one of those guys that is feeling that impact of Chase Utley now in his role.
As Howie Kendrick takes a strike. Thanks, Kelly. And yeah, can you imagine for a guy like Corey Seager in his rookie season to have that guy as a double play partner and that guy to have a locker next to?
It's a gold mine. It's a gold mine of information, of poise, to know how to handle every situation, because he's been through them all. And it's been mostly here in Philadelphia. And Corey right behind him right there gets the benefit to rub shoulders with him.
Howie Kendrick pulls a base hit to left field. So a leadoff single for Kendrick here in the third against Vince Velasquez, who has been dialed in. 5 strikeouts over the first 2 innings for the young, hard-throwing right-hander.
Now those strikeouts have come with the 4-seam fastball. A curveball to Seager got him, and Gonzalez and Peterson went down with some unbelievable 2-seamers.
Now Maeda. They're in a sacrifice situation. The top of the order due to follow.
Watch your pitching hand. If he throws that 2-seamer, it'll be running in on you.
Can't imagine he's a real fun guy to bunt off of.
No, when you have a 4-seam fastball where the guy can hang it out on the outside part of the plate, you've got to be able to cover out there. And then if he starts it there and it's a 2-seamer, it's going to be running in on your hands, and that is your livelihood.
He lays it down well. Howard's got it to get Maeda, but it moves the tying run into scoring position. I'd love to listen to the Dodgers everywhere you go. Then come to the Dodger game August 23rd. Dodgers taking on the Giants, and the first 40,000 fans in attendance get a pair of Dodger headphones presented by Coca-Cola. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions for tickets. Another good hand for Chase Utley. Like Kelly said to start this inning, a minute 15 standing ovation from this Phillies crowd before his strikeout in the first inning. And even he, who shies away from the spotlight so much, stepped out of the box twice to soak it all in. Story goes back to when he was 11 years old. He complained to his father, Dave, about a teammate who bragged a lot on his Little League team. And his dad explained to him that if you're really good at something, you don't have to tell them, they'll tell you. And that stuck with Chase through his entire playing career. Some 26 years ago, and it's still something he adheres to. 2-0.
It's a rare combination of humility and gamer. A lot of times that intensity comes with some arrogance, but his is definitely internal if there's any.
First round pick of the Phillies in 2000. He debuted here in 2003. Replaced Placido Polanco in 2005. First time as an everyday player for Philadelphia. He goes after the 3-0, flies it to left. Altair is under it. So Utley's out number 2 in the third. 2006, Utley was named an All-Star as the first of 5 consecutive All-Star campaigns for him here. Ran into those knee problems for a few seasons, got healthy from that, was an All-Star again in 2014. Now, last year he was slowed by the ankle, but has revived his career here as a 37-year-old in his first full season in Los Angeles. 2 gone. Corey Seager with a man at second in a 1-0 game. Ball 1. Corey struck out his first time. One of 5 punch outs for Velasquez. One and one.
Corey struck out on a curveball, an 80-mile-an-hour curveball. I'm sure conversations between he and Chase over this year have been about in-game adjustments. Chase has been a very consistent offensive player throughout his career. Not really long slumps at all, but long hot streaks. How does the first at bat relate to the second bat? How does it relate to the third at bat?
You always wonder about a guy adjusting to the league, adjusting to him, and it's been remarkable to watch Seager stay a step ahead over his first year as a major leaguer.
Some of it's mental, and some of it's the fact that his bat is in the hitting area for so long that his hits are from left field line to right field line. And I will tell you, as a pitcher, when you face somebody, you have to realize, are they somebody that has a good swing and is a good hitter, or are they somebody that has a good swing and is a good hitter and is an adjuster? Some guys just have a place that if you miss, they're going to hurt you, and other guys will think along with you and see how you're pitching them and start to then read that and go after those pitches.
And he is adjusted from the start. First 140 games, more hits than any Los Angeles Dodger ever in a player's first 140 games. The guys on that list, 3 rookies of the year and a runner-up in Puig. Over the outside corner, got him with a curveball the first time, gets him with a fastball here for strikeout number 6. For the Dodgers, 3 here with the Phillies, and then it's on to Cincinnati for 4 with the Reds. Games that on paper figure the Dodgers will have a good chance in. Got to Maeda back to the hill. He's given up just 1 base runner over the first 2, but it was a home run hit by Cameron Rupp. 2 gone last inning. Peter Borges out of the 8th spot leads off the 3rd and lifts a breaking ball to left center field, sending Kendrick and Peterson on the move, and it's Jock. 1 pitch and 1 out. We welcome you inside. Joe Davis and Orr Hershiser have Kelly Tennant down in the field with us tonight. It's been a special night seeing the way this crowd's reacted to Chase Utley's return.
It really is. It was really sentimental to sit here during the standing ovation his first at bat and get emotional, and to watch Chase handle it with such poise, tipping his hat to every section of the stands, over to the Phillies dugout. Handled it in a very classy way.
And knowing how much he dislikes attention, seeing the way that he was still able to handle it with class. Velasquez attacked the first one. Off speed again from Maeda, who has pitched backwards much of the night. 0-2 or 0-1.
And backwards meaning using the breaking ball to get strikes, and then the fastball kind of a show me pitch at the end, and then figure out one way or the other to get them out if they're still up there.
Frisbee slider. Velasquez missed it by a couple of feet, and it's 0-2. The Phillies have countered by being aggressive. 6 of the first 9 hitters have swung at the first pitch. Maeda trying to take advantage of that with a heavy diet of breaking balls. And he strikes out Velasquez for out number 2.
So much has been made of Kenta getting the fastball back in usage. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, that percentages might shift here tonight because of the young Phillies, and we can see him. He's using his curveball more and his slider more than maybe outings past.
Second time through the order now. Here's Cesar Hernandez. Took strike 3, called his first time on a pitch where Grandal was set up outside. Maeda missed his spot, but still caught the inner part of the plate. Oh. 1-1. Hernandez, 26 years old, 4th major league season, but his first as an everyday second baseman. That door opened by Chase Utley's departure to the Dodgers. He took over partway through last year when Utley struggled with the ankle injury, and then finished last year as the starter after Utley was traded to the Dodgers. It was 3 years, or 1 year ago, 3 days from now. August 19th. There's a chance he's going to be battling for that second base spot long term, though, that it's not a sure thing. Top prospect the Phillies have is a shortstop, and a guy named J.P. Crawford, who's down at AAA. The word is when he's ready to go, Hernandez and Galvis, who's currently playing short, will battle for second.
The 2 times that Chase Utley became a Dodger, the first time in the trade, people were like, yeah, we understand, stretch run, playoffs coming, Chase Utley, and he made an impact right away. The next time that he became a Dodger was the free agency. They re-signed him back, and people were like, I wonder why. Maybe just for the mentorship, the way he goes about his business. Well, he made an impact right away then, because we lost all of our leadoff hitters. It was even down to Andre Ethier possibly being the leadoff hitter in spring training, and then he got hurt. Chase was told by Dave Roberts he was going to start him in that role, and Chase has really never left that role and has done an outstanding job being a leadoff hitter and setting the tone not only in that leadoff spot but in the locker room.
2-out walk for Hernandez. Yeah, it was funny listening to some of the locals here in Philadelphia when they checked out the Dodger lineup today and said, did you guys see Utley's leading off?
Haven't been watching us much all year.
But that was something that he never did here in Philly. Here's Herrera, and there's ball one. By the way, with a walk there, Hernandez has matched a season-long on-base streak for Philly this year. 22 consecutive games he's reached. One and one. You mentioned Chase Utley as the leadoff man, and while the numbers at this point are nearly as impressive as they were early on when he was so good in that leadoff spot, Dave Roberts said today that it's about the quality of at bat that he gives him at the leadoff spot more than it is any number that he's looking at. Hernandez takes off on a ball, throw to second. And a tag from Seager to get Hernandez. So smoothly, Corey Seager catches that throw on the move and leaves the tag on Hernandez.
Ball's offline slightly, but Corey does not panic, allows the ball to lead it into the runner and tags him on the leg and gets him just in time.
One, two, hello, hello. Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Sure is nice having him in Dodger blue now. It's about a decade ago. Chase Utley running through Russell Martin at Dodger Stadium. That's not legal anymore unless catcher's totally blocking the plate.
No Posey rule, no Utley rule back then.
Yeah.
So have at it. Jarred a ball loose, and he scored a run on that play.
See if the Dodger offense can get it going against Velasquez, who has 6 strikeouts over 3 innings. Dodgers a pair of singles against him. Nothing to show for it. Justin Turner taking a low strike 1 and shoots a glance back at Ron Kolpa, the home plate umpire. He struck out his first time.
It's a strike that Major League Baseball is looking at changing. Instead of being the hollow of the knee, they might move the strike zone up to the kneecap. That could improve some offense a little bit by shrinking the strike zone. The biggest move they made was in the season of 1969 when they lowered the mound to improve offense. 1968 was really considered the year of the pitcher.
Oh, he comes in on Turner, eats him up. Remember, Justin missed back-to-back games because he was jammed on a fastball on Friday. Yeah, Velasquez gets right in on him here for out number 1.
This one just eats him up. Starts down the middle. Justin guessing fastball, gets fastball, so that stimulus swung the bat. But now it's like, oh my gosh, pulled his hands way in. Fortunately, did not get jammed.
So Turner's retired, and it brings up Josh Reddick, who crushed the ball his first time, but Odubel Herrera made a nice running catch in left center, right up against the wall. Takes ball 1.
He was really hitting some bad luck since becoming a Dodger. I love his intensity, his preparation, the way he goes about his business is fantastic. We just love to start seeing him get some results. You get some of those pressure ghosts floating around in your head. You know you're playing well, feeling good at the plate, hitting the ball hard, but you're not getting the results, and you've come over to a new team. You want to make it happen.
Hitters count 2-0. And ball 3.
Good to see him stay within himself on that pitch, with wanting to get the production going, and still first got to get a strike.
And Dave Roberts had said about a week ago that he did think that Reddick was pressing some. He could see it. Like you said, there have been so many hard hit, bad luck outs. Waits on a 3-1 and dribbles it along first, just foul. 3-2.
Oh, and as a hitter, and a left-handed hitter especially, you watch that ball dribble there and you are just pulling for it to go foul, especially with the results that he's had of late. Your heart just drops. You see it just dribbling towards the first baseman. You see it's got a chance to go foul.
No matter the numbers, as Dave Roberts has also said, he's the kind of guy they want in Dodger blue right now. Gritty player under that beautiful Dodger uniform. Out of the Chase Utley, Justin Turner mold. 3-2. And he protects it to stay alive. That is not something he's always been good at, protecting and running deep counts. Used to be a free swinger. We told you a couple of weeks ago about his father, Kenny, who taught him everything he knows about the game. That was one of Kenny's philosophies. See the ball, hit the ball. Don't worry about walks. But he's cut down on strikeouts and really become a tough out as his career's gone on, and he's evolved. And he foul tips this one into the mid for strike 3. Velasquez with another strikeout and 2 away in the 4th. That's now 7 Ks for Velasquez, who had 16 in one game early on this season against San Diego. Had a 3-hit shutout that had everybody here fired up about him, and everybody in Houston freaking out that they had dealt away a future ace. Velasquez came here in the Ken Giles deal during the offseason. Thought being for Philadelphia, they're not a contending team yet. Why not flip a closer? Because you're not going to get a ton of use out of a closer when you're not a winning team. So they sent Giles to the Astros. And Velasquez was the centerpiece of the return. 1-1.
Well, fastball velocity check as far as grading for an ace. 98-mile-an-hour tops out. Two-seamer also around 90, 91. Showing the ability to really spin the ball with his curveball and his slider, and has a knack and a finesse for that changeup. So he can check all the boxes. Now it's about consistency.
As Adrian chasing that two-seam that tails away 1-2.
Highest whiff percentage on fastballs up is on the mound. We're talking about a lot of big-time pitchers that have big fastballs, that he's #1 in the big leagues.
Only 24 years old. With a deep breath, he pumps a 1-2 to Adrian Gonzalez and breaks his bat. It goes catapulting towards second, and it's picked up by Galvis at short. He throws him out. Dodgers down in order in the 4th inning. They trail 1-0. Major League worst 9-19 since the All-Star break, and the Dodgers within a half game as we come down the stretch here in 2016. Dodgers trying to track down that 4th consecutive division title. When we take a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, the easiest remaining strengths of schedules in the National League. By winning percentage, the Dodgers have the 3rd easiest strength of schedule left. They only have a total of 18 games remaining against teams with 500 or better records. And half of those come against the Giants. Kenta Maeda back to work for the bottom of the 4th inning. Odubel Herrera was at the plate when the last inning ended, with Hernandez getting caught stealing.
The nice part about that Giants schedule, even though the last 3 are in San Francisco, we get to play them 6 times at home to kind of set up the ultimate stretch run.
How about the homestand the Dodgers have coming up when they complete this 7-game trip through Philly and Cincy? 3 with the Giants. Take a quick deep breath. 3 with the Cubs.
It'll be very important. This would be a very important road trip to get some padding. maybe pass the Giants and get a little padding and then go into that and expand on that.
It's funny you're talking about padding when you have a half-game deficit, but the way things have trended, it feels like crazy to think that you could during this trip.
We've gained 6 since the All-Star game. Only a half a game out now. Have it all in your own hands right now here tonight to tie them for the league division lead.
The Dodgers have trailed by as many as 8 games. Back on June 26th, that was the last game Clayton Kershaw started. 24-16 since. That's the second best record of the National League during that stretch.
There really was a time when the sky was falling. The sky was falling, and boy, Dave Roberts and this team has stabilized the ship and gained ground on those Giants. They are right there, right in the windshield right now. They are right outside the front bumper, almost about to pass them.
And have been for a few weeks now. They've been within 2 games of the Giants for the last 3 weeks. Been tied for first 1 day since mid-May. That was last Tuesday. Last time they were alone in first place, May 10th. But with a win tonight and a Giants loss later tonight, that's where they'd be again. This is the 7th time in Dodger franchise history that they've erased a deficit this big, and that goes without talking about what actually happens at the end of the year. But to trail by at least 8 games and come back to get to at least a tie, which they've done last Tuesday. This is only the 7th time that it's happened. There's another 1-2 to Odubel Herrera, and a bouncing ball to Corey Seager for the first out of the inning. Now, only twice have they erased a deficit of at least 8 games and gone on to win the division. And it happened recently. 2013, they were 9.5 back. That's when they had that crazy 42-8 stretch. Wound up winning the division by 11 games after trailing by 9.5. They did it again the year after, 2014. Came from down 10. They won the division by 6 games. Maeda to Altair with strike 1.
And everything they've accomplished this year is with the backdrop of 26 players going on the disabled list, having your ace down since June 26th. They've really, the revolving door of the roster that the front office has had to use to get to this point is, you just tip your cap. So many excuses that you could write this season off, but they're right in the midst of it.
Making a couple of moves at the deadline. Josh Reddick right there, and Rich Hill coming over from Oakland. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Altair. And you hope it won't be long before Hill makes his debut, continuing to deal with those blister issues. They decided instead of having him make a rehab start, they go down and have him throw in Arizona, where it's much less humid. Humidity leads to issues with the blisters. So he's throwing in Arizona this week. Hoping to be back. Make his Dodger debut before long. Altair strikes out swinging.
Dave Roberts announcing today that Stripling will pitch on Thursday, that Bud Norris will pitch on Fridays. We watched Kent just strike him out with a slider right there. Brett Anderson, they're hoping his left wrist feels good enough after his fall in his last start that he will pitch on Saturday. So they are juggling things throughout. We thought at this point now in the season, with Brett Anderson getting healthy, Brandon McCarthy being in the rotation before he went on the deal, that there would be a glutton of starting pitching, but now they're still trying to piece it together.
Really is remarkable with the way they've pieced it together that they sit where they do. Michael Franco with the bases empty, 2 gone in the 4th inning. Maeda pitches 1-0 and Franco takes ball 2. Disappointing second season for this guy. Had a huge breakout rookie season last year. The 23-year-old struggling below league average this season. 2-1. Now, last year, Maikel Franco was in the Rookie of the Year discussion. Hit 280. Had 14 home runs in just 80 games. And he broke his wrist in August, and that ended his season. Ended the Rookie of the Year discussion. 2-2.
Shows how high he raised the bar. He's 21-69 right now. Home runs and RBIs, hitting 246. So down year for his talent, but still numbers that show very high production by the end of the season. He keeps it up. Just want to see a little more consistency. He waggles that bat like Dick Allen used to in this Phillies uniform.
Pops it up. Turner over to give it a look with room. 0-1-2-3, fourth inning for Kenta Maeda. Let's go to the fifth. We look at our Carl's Cam replay. Vince Velasquez already 7 punch-outs.
Been absolutely fantastic, and most of those punch-outs have come with the fastball. That's an outstanding breaking ball. You see him Powder River by guys in the strike zone, and we see him running that fastball up and off the edges of the plate. Hard to read the difference between the two-seamer and the four-seamer.
Maeda's been really sharp as well. 5 Ks over his 4 innings. Walk and a home run, all that he's allowed. Yasmani Grandal fouls off a first pitch breaking ball to get this 5th inning going. Grandal, Peterson, and Kendrick. Boy, that right now is about as good of a 6 through 8 in a lineup as you're going to find.
Sure is. Nobody. Yasmani's hitting a 227, but of late he's hitting over 400. If you take him back the last 20 days or so. Jock Peterson with 18 home runs, 50 RBIs.
Yeah, Grandal leads the majors in slugging since the beginning of July. Peterson, who's next, little different time frame since July 23rd. Second in the majors in on base plus slugging. And then you got Howie Kendrick, who has his average at its highest point this year. And a liner into left center field. Second base hit of the game for Grandal. Running hard out of the box, making Herrera work to hold him to a single. That leads off this 5th against Velasquez.
In 5 innings, the second leadoff hitter to reach base. The Dodgers have only had 3 hits. Yasmani's got 2 of them. A good start here with the bottom of the order coming up. Maybe they can produce a run.
We're talking about the improvements for Peterson and how good he's been over the last few weeks. Even when you look at the full body of work this year, It's been some really noteworthy improvement from him. There was a piece from Fangraphs yesterday which does an analytics stuff that you can look up. Great database of advanced stats online. They did a piece on him. Talked about contact rate. Go figure, he swings and misses while I'm talking about an improved contact rate. But from last year to this year, Peterson's 1 year improvement in contact rate, which is just what it sounds like, his ability to put the bat on the ball. It's the biggest 1 year improvement for any major leaguer in more than a decade. Wow. I think the extra impressive thing about it is you see guys improve contact rates, but hardly ever do you see them do it without sacrificing power. Jock's still hitting home runs.
But his bat speed is off the charts, and it's always been about, more consistent approach with more consistent contact. And he's made some mechanical adjustments and some philosophical adjustments this year. And Dave Roberts, commenting on his production and his progress as a hitter, really talks about him not giving away any at bats, not giving away any pitches, being competitive every moment he's up there, no matter what situation. And then, of course, you can turn that back to the man of the day, which is Chase Utley, which Chase never does that.
Talking giving away at bats. Right. Yeah.
Giving away pitches, always competing. You did see Jock's body language change in the box once he fell behind, let's say 0-2, and swung at 2 balls up by his neck. And pretty much from then on, the at bat was just swirling out of control, and you never saw him regain that concentration and approach. But now he can make a mistake. He can swing at a bad pitch, but he can get back in there with the same focus and the same approach as a professional would. And with Chase, it's an uber professional. Some of those guys that play at this level and then play at the level that Chase does as far as concentration and approach, it's almost unhuman that you can stay in that place so locked in for so long and not let the context of what's going on around you or what you just did change what you're about to do. A pro's pro.
One and two on Peterson. And looking at Chase Utley from afar, when you watch him as an opponent, as the Dodgers did for the first 13 seasons, you think, man, that is one tough son of a gun. Probably not real nice. Even as Dodger fans now, you may think, man, he's tough, and I'm not sure you'd want to cross him. But really, it's just that he is so dialed in and so locked in when he's at the ballpark. It kind of overshadows what is a really down-to-earth, nice guy away from the field.
And this battle is an example of Jock's new discipline. Early in this at bat, swung and missed. As you were talking about his contact rate going up, the largest percentage in 10 years in Major League Baseball, but then he has turned this at bat around into a battle. The more you see pitches, and especially from the pitcher you're facing, the more information you have, the more comfortable you are in the box. Those foul balls do count.
And another foul ball. This one a missile by first. He fell behind 0-2. The next pitch will be the 8th of this AB. Dave Roberts made the point during his media scrum today that it can be hard to change your approach, change your philosophy when you've had the kind of success that Jock had. He was an all-star as a rookie. He breezed through the minors. So when you've had an approach that works, that makes it extra difficult to make significant changes. 2-2, but he has.
You talk about where he breezed through. Think about what he did in amateur ball then. he probably, the second half of last season was probably the first time he really was in a prolonged slump in his life. And then to pack that in with philosophical changes.
And he strikes out on a changeup. Peterson on a 9-pitch at bat goes down, but it was an impressive battle from him for out number 1.
It's a strikeout, but you see a lot of growth before the top spins.
Yeah, the year that he made his major league debut, 2014, came up in September, but that year he was the first Pacific Coast League player in 8 seasons to have 30 home runs and steal 30 bases. AAA 30-30 club in what is a shorter season.
He has never taken his bat onto the field. His Gold Glove caliber defense in center field has saved many a game for the Dodgers, even when he was slumping and swinging and missing.
Howie Kendrick singled his first time. For him, a somewhat rare base hit to the pull field. Here's a 1-0. There's strike 1. Double and a home run against Vince Velasquez last Tuesday. This has been a much different outing for Velasquez. Gave up 9 runs on 11 hits. Worst outing of his career at Dodger Stadium. Not too far from where he grew up last week. Kendrick hammers a ball to deep left center field. Herrera's back on it, and it's gone. With one swing, Howie Kendrick puts the Dodgers in front 2-1.
Started this inning talking about how long and deep this lineup can get, and the 3 hitters that came up with Yasmani Grandal, Jock Peterson, and Howie Kendrick. Kendrick in the 8-hole powders this ball to center field, laces it out there for his 8th home run and his 33rd RBI. The veteran is now still hot and really lengthens this Dodger lineup.
So the Dodgers in front 2-1 on Kendrick's 8th of the season. Strike 1 to Maeda. That ball was pummeled. Waiting to see the StatCast update with an exit velocity on it. Nothing in 2.
Can I guess from old school?
Sure.
So old school, we think that was really hit hard.
Okay.
I'm going to go 101.
Sure, there are people at home that already have it. I'm still waiting for it to load. How about 109?
109.
109 miles per hour off of the bat. Major league average is in the high 80s.
Launch angle was a little low.
It was 21 degrees. Optimal for home runs is 25 to 30. It's a home run.
So really hard is above 105. Solid is around 100.
Yeah.
And average is around 95, 93.
Average is high 80s.
High 80s.
Yep. Chase Utley up for the 3rd time tonight. Another good hand from this Phillies crowd. Struck out his first time and then popped out on a 3-0 pitch.
You know how you have spin rate on the pitchers?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have spin rate on the ball leaving your bat?
Be interesting to see because people talk about backspin
compared to topspin. Yeah, because that ball would have to have backspin, I would think, to carry that far. You know, we had that shot of Chase Utley in the dugout that he was being blocked by the bat boy's arm a lot as we talked about him and his leadership and his focus. But so you think about it, here he is up. He was standing behind Dave Roberts in the tunnel there, staring the pitcher, watching the sequencing. He wasn't waiting till he got in the on-deck circle to prepare for this at bat. That it's not only the focus of when the normal player starts to focus. It's the continuous locked in approach that he has, and picking up information and preparing for the next thing he's about to do.
He waits on a 2-1, and Utley swings through a fastball at 94 to even the count, 2-2. By the way, the hardest hit ball recorded by StatCast in the couple years we've had it, 123.9. A ground out from Giancarlo Stanton. Would you like to be the guy to field that? Look what I found. There's a high drive to deep right center. It carries well, and Chase Utley comes home with a home run. The 128th home run that he's hit in this ballpark. How often do you see a curtain call for a visiting player? And a standing ovation for a visiting player.
What was the lesson from his father?
If you're good, people will tell you. You don't have to tell them.
There it is. Even as a visiting player, people are telling him they appreciate how good he is.
Second time he's homered against the Phillies in the last week. He did it against Philadelphia last Tuesday at Dodger Stadium. Now he does it here in Philly to make it 3-1 Dodgers. And Corey Seager cracks one to second. Cesar Hernandez will throw him out and bring this fifth inning to a close. But the Dodgers jump in front on a 2-run shot from Kendrick. And in a night that was already owned by the guy they call the man. But a highlights add to a reel that's growing on this memorable evening. Played more than 1,500 games in a Phillies uniform in his first 13 major league seasons. And now Kenta Maeda pitches with the lead. Strike one on Ryan Howard. I'm sure has enjoyed quietly this Utley performance tonight as much as anybody. Even the Philly fans standing and cheering, giving him a curtain call. You ever seen a visiting player get a curtain call?
I don't think so. Not in my recent memory.
Howard hits one the other way. That is a towering fly ball that Peterson runs under. And it got on him in a hurry there at the last moment.
With Utley going deep and then Ryan Howard giving it a scare, it was almost like turn back the clock night. An ex-Philly and a current Philly. This one giving Kenta Maeda a little bit of a scare. In Ryan's heyday, he peppered that left center gap with home runs, and that's what made him such a great hitter, because you couldn't get him out away and you couldn't get him out in.
Kenta didn't even want to look. Saw on the replay there, didn't even turn around. So the Phillies still with only one hit against him. It was this guy, Cameron Rupp, and it was a home run to that same part of the ballpark. Although that coming from Rupp, a right-handed hitter, whereas Howard went the other way with it.
Careful with the first two pitches there, and two heaters compared to the slow curveball that was hit for the dinger.
Threw something off speed and got it by him this time. 2-1.
That was the old backup slider the hitters can get completely fooled on, expecting it to break right to left, and instead it kind of corkscrews back in towards you as a right-handed hitter.
On 2-1. Down the middle, strike two.
A little bit of info right there for Kenta and Yasmani. When a fastball hitter takes a 2-1 fastball right down the middle, tells you what he might be thinking. Do you switch it up? I just stay fastball low and away. Don't overthink it. Make him make the adjustment. He hit the breaking ball for a home run. Make him hit the fastball low and away. Yasmani put the curveball down twice, put the slider down twice. Kenta still can't get on the same page with him. Let's see what he wants.
And he swings and misses. Popped out of Grandal's mitt, but he put it on him. And 2 up and 2 down here in the 5th inning. Heck of a homestand coming up. The Giants and then the Cubs. And you can come watch the Dodgers play the Cubs Friday, August 26th through the 28th. You won't want to miss this National League showdown. Cubs running away with the best record in baseball. And coming to face the Dodgers. Go to Dodgers.com/tickets. Make sure you hurry and do that, because those are going in a hurry. Between two of the top teams in baseball, and what could be 2 first-place teams come next weekend. Could be 2 first-place teams come 4 innings. Freddie Galvis takes one in the dirt. Flied out his first time.
For this next homestand, I've got more ticket requests from friends. Giants and Cubs coming to town. Everybody coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I don't get a ton of them yet, just because I'm not out in Los Angeles full time yet. But I even got one for the Giants series tonight. Yeah.
You let a few friends know that you got access to a couple ducats, and all of a sudden, when the teams come in, it's now you have to then disappoint certain friends, and they wonder where they are on the ranking list of friendship.
Yeah. Did they crack your MySpace top 8?
What's MySpace?
Here's a 2-1. I was going to say, you have no idea what a MySpace top 8 is, do you?
No. Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, MySpace.
Instagram. What's MySpace?
Zanga.
Top 8.
Hit me up on Zanga.
Okay.
Here's Maeda with a 2-2. It was before this current generation of social media.
I knew there was a MySpace. I just didn't know there was a top 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Galvis making Maeda work. Cats has faced the minimum over the last 3 innings now. Since the home run from Rupp in the second made it 1-0 Phillies. Dodgers getting 3 in the top of this inning. Kendrick home run and an Utley home run, bringing this Phillies crowd to its feet. Standing ovation and a curtain call. Galvis puts it in play. Going to be a tough play, and Justin Turner will eat it. An infield single for Freddie Galvis keeps his 5th inning going.
Kent on his 70th pitch right here gets this chopper down the line. He's got 2 outs here in the 5th. Got a chance to be one of the first Dodger pitchers, starters, to get into the 6th inning and get some outs. He's got the pitch count well under control, but that little battle right there extended it. We haven't really mentioned how close it is out there on the field. It's very humid.
Yeah.
60%, 70% humidity here in Philadelphia. Very, very hot compared to as comfortable it is up here in the box. But these guys are battling some serious hydration issues out there.
Borges hooks one down the left field line, but foul. So we're up here in a partially air-conditioned but open booth. Kelly, it's not AC down there where you are, is it?
No, it's not, but I'm cheating because our amazing crew actually got me my own gigantic fan, so I'm staying pretty cool. But Oral, you're exactly right. You're a good weather girl up there. It is 60% humidity, 90, but it feels like 100. Kenley Jansen came walking out right before the game, and he looked at me. He's like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I think everybody was a little surprised. They got off the plane, and then today getting to the ballpark scene. Yesterday was no fluke.
Weather girl.
I guess that's what you actually called you.
Ever since I didn't know MySpace 8, top 8.
Yeah. We'll let that one slide. No lie, last time I was in Philly, I had a basketball game that was postponed by a day because of an epic snowstorm. Whole city shut down because of snow. I get here and it feels like temperature of 105. And then a 2 on Peter Borges. With a man at first and 2 gone. Dodgers have won 4 consecutive games started by Maeda. And when he starts following a loss this season, LA is 10-6. And Ed Svita, our great statistician, is upset that I'm not mentioning that basketball game involved the eventual national champion Villanova Wildcats. So there you go, Ed. It's a good sports town in Philadelphia. They really care.
You know, I forget how beautiful this ballpark is too. You know, you think of San Francisco and Pittsburgh, and Cleveland has a beautiful ballpark, but they really built a very picturesque ballpark here.
Maeda gets Borges, and the inning is over. Second strikeout of the inning, 7th of the night. Dodgers up 3-1. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota's annual clearance event is here. Save big on the entire 2016 Prius family. Hurry in today. Los Angeles Times this week. Make sure you look it up. Just a perfectly written piece by Andy that tells the story of how Justin Turner has become one of the great players in the National League. Gone from a guy released by the New York Mets to a bench player for the Dodgers, who was initially signed on a minor league deal, to one of the top hitters around. And he takes strike one from Vince Velasquez to get this 6th inning started. Overhauled his approach and his swing, and overhauled his body early on in his time in Los Angeles. You know, he only hit 8 home runs in his 4 college seasons. And then he only hit 8 home runs in his first 5 pro seasons combined. Now, granted, that was spot duty most of the way. That wasn't every day at bats. But his approach was one of trying to always hit the ball hard on the ground. Here's a 1-1. And there's strike 2. Marlon Byrd, who has since kind of become infamous because of the PED issues, but was a student of the game, student of hitting. The Mets signed him late in Justin Turner's time in New York, and the two struck up a friendship, and Byrd appreciated how carefully Turner looked at the art of hitting and had him come work out with him during the offseason, leading into Justin's first season in a Dodger uniform. With his help and the help of the hitting coach, changed his swing, changed his approach, where he went from trying to be a guy who just slaps it on the ground to somebody who elevates the ball. Remembers hitting 6 consecutive home runs in a batting practice in that first spring training after changing his approach, and somebody saying to him, "That's not you." He goes down swinging. Velasquez retires him to begin this 6. But the home run totals, as he's changed that approach, went from 8 in his first 5 years to 7 in his first year in LA to 16 last year to 21 this year.
He was a back leg hitter before, staying on the back leg, stay back, kind of a slap hitter into the ground, and then got into a very big weight shift and that leg kick, and then a little bit more arc in his swing. And the bat speed really came with the change in philosophy and the change in mechanics.
Mentioned the change in his body as well. He played that first season with the Dodgers and wound up playing a much more significant role than they expected him to because of injuries to other players. So 1-0 to Josh Reddick. And he lines one back up the middle. Galvis has it off a bounce and throws to get it. Heck of a play by Freddie Galvis, and again Josh Reddick robbed.
Josh will make a slow walk, give the Dodgers a chance to take a look at the replay to see if it was close enough to challenge. Galvis with the spinning, very athletic and acrobatic play. It is bang bang. Being able to get to his feet right there is the reason this might still be an out.
They say it looks like play on. An inordinate amount of hard hit balls that have been turned into outs off of the bat of Josh Reddick. So 2 away, and Adrian Gonzalez comes up in a 3-1 game.
He's ready for his Babbitt to turn around.
So to put a capper on that Justin Turner story about him changing his body after his first year as a Dodger, the Dodgers strength coach Brandon McDaniel moved his family from Omaha, Nebraska to Los Angeles to work Turner out 6 days a week and help him change his diet. He dropped 20 pounds that offseason. It's all worked together to make him the player that he is now. Now Brandon said that he wasn't sure. It was his first full season he was coming off of as the Dodgers strength coach, but what they do for a living situation, maybe they'd relocate to Arizona where the complex is during spring training. Maybe they'd go to LA. Maybe they'd stay seasonally in Nebraska. 1-2 on Gonzalez, but then he said, you know, Justin, I want to work with you to change things, to overhaul your workouts, to overhaul your diet. Who are you going to work out if I'm not with you? And he said, well, you're my guy. And so Brandon said, you know what? I'm going to move to Los Angeles, and he's settled there. That's where home is now for Brandon McDaniel.
It is a wonderful commitment for a player. Shows the depth of his dedication and passion.
Adrian shoots one the other way for a 2-out base hit to extend his hitting streak to 9 games. And Brandon McDaniel, the Dodgers strength coach, is as well liked of a guy and well respected of a guy as you'll find in a baseball clubhouse.
Well, that story alone tells you that he goes the extra mile when you're going to move your family. And the move was in the works because he had become a Dodger, but they didn't know how far west they were going to come. But to know that the tipping point for the decision was to help a player on the roster like Justin Turner and turn his life and career around, that's a fantastic decision.
There's Brandon. His 2 young boys back in Los Angeles with his wife Andrea. Nebraska. Worked in the military for a while as a strength coach before he got involved in baseball. Started in the minor leagues, as is often the case. Talk about quick rising prospects. He was a quick rising strength coach. Made it to the major leagues quickly. 102nd pitch of the night from Velasquez, and Grandal takes it for strike 1. Pair of relievers warming for Philadelphia. Here's a 1-1, and Grandal fouls it off. Strike 2.
A 2-out man on first. You don't think it's a big situation, but when Yasmani Grandal is up there of late, tied for the NL in home run lead with 12 since June 30th, the slug percentage off the chart. So this is a turning point in the game. If he pops one out, it'll change the whole picture of this being close compared to it being spread out.
Protects a breaking ball that was ticketed for the outside corner. Stays 1-2. Homered against Velasquez last Tuesday. 11 home runs since July 1st. Gonzalez at first with 2 away, and here comes a 1-2 pitch to Yasmani Grandal. And he strokes a fly ball to the opposite field. Altair back, and that ball is gone. Grandal's done it again. A 2-run shot, his 12th since the beginning of July, and the Dodgers lead 5-1.
Three home runs against Vasquez the last time they faced him. 3 home runs tonight. Grandal with 2 of those 6. Howie Kendrick with 2 of those 6. That ball was powdered like the base hit he hit in that opposite direction. That same direction earlier, but that one he elevated.
Number 19 of the season for Yasmani Grandal. And you go back one day into June. Yeah, that's his 13th of that less than 2-month stretch. And Velasquez was a guy who was not giving up many home runs either. He's allowed 6 to the Dodgers in 2 starts. The rest of the season, he's allowed 11.
That one was on a 1-2 fastball at 97 miles an hour.
He's Cade Peterson both times, but Jock worked a 9-pitch at bat his last time up and is ahead of him 3-0 with a pitch count climbing to 108. He's reportedly on an innings limit this year, Velasquez. Tommy John guy in 2011, but the word is the limit is around 140 innings. He'll now have pitched 113 when this one's finished. 3-2. As the same agent as a couple of noteworthy guys that have been shut down in recent years, and Matt Harvey and Jose Fernandez. That is Scott Boras. Here's a payoff, and Peterson takes ball 4. First walk issued by Velasquez, and what was such a promising night through 4 innings is unraveled on it. Pete Mechanic coming out. Velasquez over the first 4 innings had given up just a single, and it struck out 7. 10 strikeouts total, but the Dodgers have scored 5 off of the long ball. That does it. And a 5-1 game in the 6th. The Arco top tier plays twice. Yasmani Grandal in this last week, plus his homer against Velasquez. Did it at Dodger Stadium last week and does it to the opposite field here tonight. One of the 3 home runs allowed by Velasquez. Part of this 5-1 Dodger lead.
Yasmani in the top 5 in most offensive categories for catchers in Major League Baseball, not just the National League.
David Hernandez comes in with Peterson at first and Howie Kendrick at the plate. Kendrick, like Grandal, homered against Velasquez last week and tonight. It was Howie's home run in the 5th that started the scoring for the Dodgers, putting them in front 2-1.
Home run by Grandal really sets the Dodgers up for this road trip, this first game. They have not been especially good in first games of series. They kind of get warmed up when they face an opposing team. 16-22 in first games of series. They're really good in last games of series. They're 24-13 in the finales. So they seem to kind of ease into the series as they have won a majority of the series they've played in. They are 20-14-4 in all the series this year against opposing teams. You'd like to get off to fast starts here on this road trip and then again in Cincinnati with some momentum before you play your arch rival and then the mighty Chicago Cubs on the homestand.
Does that feel weird saying mighty Chicago Cubs?
A little bit. The Cubs have turned into Bears. 73 wins so far. We got a doubleheader today.
Kendrick goes the other way and has his 3rd hit of the game. 2 singles and a homer for Howie Kendrick, and the inning kept alive. So now a decision for Dave Roberts with Maeda due up. And he'll send Kenta out there.
Kenta's pitch count is well under control, right around the 70 mark.
So not really a decision then.
No, yeah. 5-1. Love to get starters to go deep in the game. No off day on the near horizon.
He starts a streak of 16 consecutive days without an off day to finish the month of August. A healthy cut and a miss, strike 1. Dodgers with a chance to draw even with the Giants if they can win this game. San Francisco doesn't start until 7 o'clock Pacific, taking on the Pirates. Would be kind of an anticlimactic way to take over sole possession of first. Not that there's any bad way to do it, but to wake up and see you're in first place as opposed to winning a game to go up.
I think most of these Dodgers will be awake when the Giants finish their game, just because they're on West Coast time.
Yeah,
it's hard to fall asleep when you fly east.
Maeda floats one into foul ground. Long run. Hernandez and Howard, and Ryan Howard brings the crowd alive, flashing some of his old youth. And did a little exploring here.
Thank you, Joe. You know, we've been talking all game about Chase Utley's first trip back to Philly, so it's really important that we make a visit to Ashburn Alley. We wanted to show you there are 6 different placards for Chase Utley being recognized as an All-Star, and Ashburn Alley is all about every All-Star since 1933, so pretty cool that you guys all get to see this on his first trip back.
All-Star 5 consecutive seasons, Kelly, 06 to 2010, and then after those knee problems, got those in order. All-Star again in 2014.
As you get a little older and then you get nicked up, people start to write you off. And at the tail end of his Philly career, I think people were glad that all of a sudden he was gone, but they welcomed him back here tonight with open arms and standing ovations, and he has not disappointed them as far as his performance on the field with that home run. And Ashburn Alley out there recognizing the All-Stars with those plaques that Kelly gave us a nice look at.
Taylor Featherston will pinch hit out of the pitcher's spot to start this 6th inning against Maeda, who has allowed only 2 hits tonight, a single and a Cameron Rupp homer. Limited ABs for Featherston in a Phillies uniform. Waits on a 1-0. 1-1. Hernandez and Herrera to follow here in the 6th against Maeda, who's only thrown 75 pitches. 2-1.
This is where you have to watch out for pitch counts too, because the weather the way it is, just the humidity and the heat out there. 76 probably feeling more like 90. I wouldn't be surprised if he has an easy inning and all of a sudden it's 85, 87 pitches that he does get taken out. We'll see how they play it and how he feels.
2-2. Is that backup slider again?
That one broke a little bit, but they're definitely hanging up there. Those are the ones you get back in your glove and you're glad it's the same ball. It's not the new one from the umpire that after the ball got hit out.
That one was.
That was starting to back up. Yeah, the car was in reverse right there. You didn't really hit the gas pedal and back up in a hurry, but that one was it was idling backwards. You'd like to throw a good one now, because now you got the spin and the read from the hitter that it's not doing much, and all of a sudden you stay on one, but they're coming fastball in.
And it works for the first out of the 6. That's 8 Ks now for Maeda to go along with just 1 walk.
Yeah, 92 is about the top floor for his velocity. He threw that one real well, hit his spot, had a little movement to it.
You're starting to see a pretty remarkable stretch as far as strikeout to walk ratio. There was all the hoopla around Kershaw's, which was historic and is historic. It's just postponed right now, put on pause. 3rd trip to the order, and Hernandez takes a huge breaking ball for a strike. But Maeda now in his last 7 starts, a 43-4 strikeout to walk ratio. As is well publicized with him, this is the point of the game where he's typically struggled, the 3rd time through the order. 2-1 on Hernandez. First 2 times through the order, opponents average below 200 combined. For that 3rd trip through, opponents hitting above 340.
Take an edge off the stuff, you take an edge off the location, and then the knowledge of what you're doing goes up.
Pummeled to right. Hernandez takes him deep on cue.
Osmani's glove is right there. He hits it. It's 91. The reaction swing, pulling the hands in, getting the head out, and putting the ball over the fence.
We've seen 5 home runs tonight, the teams combined. For Hernandez, who turned on that ball like a regular old power hitter, that's only his 3rd home run of the season. Now Herrera, who is more of a bona fide power bat, he's hit 12 homers this year. Ball 1. Maeda spears it. 2 out.
He put the Gold Glove from Japan in his suitcase, brought it over here. Excellent fielder, great athlete on the mound. Nice reactions on that play.
Well, if there has been an issue for Maeda recently, it's been home runs. He's given up at least one homer in 7 of his last 8 starts. He's given up 12 home runs in his last 11 starts. After he kept the ball in the yard really nicely over the first half of the season. As the league gets more and more of a book on him, forcing him to adjust back. Ball 1 upstairs to Aaron Altair. And important to keep in mind too, this is not just the 3rd trip through the order tonight, but this is back-to-back starts against this lineup. Seeing him twice in an 8-day stretch.
Something a decade or 2 ago happened more often, but once interleague play came in, kind of broke the schedule up on how there was a rhythm before where you would take consistent road trips and then consistent homestands against certain teams, and you would face teams back-to-back an awful lot. But not as much in this generation with the way the schedule works.
Three and 1 on Altair, who is a good power hitter himself. Homered against Maeda last week. It's one of his 3 homers since he was activated off of the disabled list in late July. That ball's hammered down the left field line, but he hooked it off at the end of the barrel. And it's 3 and 2.
Got him out front just enough.
Altair missed the first several months of the season after he had wrist surgery during spring training. Tore a ligament diving for a ball. Guys come back from wrist injuries. They say power's the last thing to return. Homered in his season debut. And has hit 2 more since, including the one against Maeda last week. 25 years old. He was born in Germany. On a U.S. military base. His mom is part of the United States Armed Forces. His father, a German pro soccer player. And he's played for Germany in some international competition. WBC qualifier back in 2012. Played for the German national team. Suppose that'll now have Max Kepler on it, the Minnesota Twins young star. Here comes a 3-2 to Altair. And he got a fastball by him to bring the 6th to a close. What a solo shot from Cesar Hernandez. 2nd home run of the night against Maeda, who leads 5-2. This is our Morongo Casino Resort and Spa slow-mo cam. Chase Utley's return to Philadelphia, and it's been a memorable night for him. At the minute 15 standing ovation prior to his first at-bat, and is homered tonight. Let's go down to Kelly Tennant.
Well, guys, the night just gets better because look what I have. The ball that Chase Utley hit out into the bullpen. They recovered it, and the clubhouse manager for the Dodgers, Mitch Poole, brought it over to me. So pretty special that he's going to get to add this to his collection after tonight, guys.
You're going to make him give you like a bat and some gloves, and since you now have possession of it, some tickets.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, all right. He leads off this 7th inning in front of Seager and Turner.
Good luck with that negotiation.
Yeah, right.
'128th home run he's hit in this ballpark. Second on the historic list for this ballpark. I'm sure number 1 is Ryan Howard.
He's second in just about every category here, behind either Howard or Jimmy Rollins.
Yep. The runs is probably behind Rollins because he didn't hit leadoff for the Phillies. Home runs behind Ryan Howard. RBIs probably behind Ryan Howard. Hits maybe right behind Rollins.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy would get more at bats being the leadoff hitter.
Three and one. Elvis Araujo is the new Phillies pitcher. On for the 32nd time this year.
Seeing a lefty out there on the mound and thinking of those heydays for these Phillies. You think of Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay.
Utley walks to start this 7th. Now the Phillies had 5 consecutive trips to the postseason from 2007 to 2011. It's now a 4-year playoff drought that includes the worst record in the majors last year. Lost 99 games. It's the most the Phillies had lost since the 60s.
The other lefty on that staff was Cole Hamels.
Yep. Oh, and 1 on Corey Seager, who is 0 for 3. One and 2. Giants will get going in less than an hour now in San Francisco against Pittsburgh. If the Dodgers can hang on to this lead, they'll be tied with the Giants for first entering that Giants-Pirates game tonight.
As we have an eyeball on the Giants have an eyeball on us, and they've been in their locker room getting ready for their game. And I know somebody's had this Dodger game on. It's nice to post a 5-2 score in the 7th. Let them stare at that.
I know you say there's more scoreboard watching when you're coming from behind, right? But at this point, they've been so even for like 3 weeks. Doesn't even really feel anymore like the Giants are ahead and the Dodgers are behind. Seager yanks a bullet towards the right field corner that goes all the way to the wall by Borges. They stop Utley at third on a double from Seager. All right, call from Chris Woodward with nobody out here in the 7th.
Were you worried at all about Corey Seager? Strikeout, strikeout, ground ball to second. Here he comes in his 4th at bat and looks like the same hitter that is going to probably be Rookie of the Year. And then Chase Utley, never really the best runner as far as speed, but always one of the most accurate base runners in the big leagues.
Is the highest stolen base percentage with a minimum of like 100 steal attempts of any major leaguer ever. You read today. And like you said, that's without burning speed. It's with great feel for base stealing and base running.
Crosses every T, dots every I when it comes to playing baseball.
Justin Turner now at 2 on and nobody out. The Dodgers trying to add on to this 5-2 lead in the 7th. I think we've talked about this before, but since 1950 and Fangraph's base running above replacement, and I can't tell you exactly what goes into that other than that it's supposed to measure a player's base running ability overall. That has Chase Utley as the 13th best base runner in that stretch since 1950. So, you know, put whatever stock you want into a number like that, but everybody's graded the same way by whatever that equation is. And he's the 13th best. Here's a 2-0. One circles in there for a strike, 2-1. Turner's 0 for 3 tonight in his first game since Friday when he was jammed by that pitch. Bruised his hand, but good to go for this series opener and this road trip opener. In and out of the glove of Howard, and at first nobody's there to cover. So the base is loaded with nobody out in the 7th. Should have been caught, should have been picked up, and then should have had somebody home to take a throw.
Deflection off Ryan Howard's glove, and then as he's reaching down to get the ball to feed Ra, who he has trouble picking it back up. Justin stays on the pitch, hits the bullet. This hits Ryan Howard right in the palm of the glove, springs out of there, and he just can't get to it. It's going to be an interesting call by the official scorer. They call it a hit. It was going to be a tough play all around, especially with Elvis not getting off the mound in time. He hadn't left the building, but he was still on the mound.
Well done. So quick visit. Dodgers have had 10 base runners now in the last 2 innings. They got 3 runs in the 5th. They got 2 runs in the 6th. All the runs tonight scoring off homers. And now Josh Reddick, who is 0 for 3. Robbed of hits on 2 occasions tonight. A fly out to the wall in left center. And then a hard hit bouncing ball that the shortstop Freddie Galvis snared in short center field to throw him out. His last time up. Reddick hits it on the ground to Howard, who comes home for the force, and that's all they'll get. The fielder's choice, and 1 gone.
It just comes over top of a breaking ball right here, and this one sticks in Ryan Howard's glove, and they get that force at home.
So Gonzalez now extended his hitting streak to 9 his last time up with a base hit to left. Takes one off of the inside for ball 1. You'd love to see the Dodgers take advantage of this opportunity to add on. The Phillies are the top run scoring team in the National League this month, more than 6 per game. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th, and a 1-1 to Gonzalez. Outside, 2-1. Seager at third, Turner at second, and Reddick at first. Adrian's always been good in these situations. Above 360 in his career with the bases loaded. Here's a 2-1, and it's 3-1 with nowhere to put it.
Left on left situation. You're worried about the breaking ball at the beginning of this at bat. But now with a 3-1 count and the bases loaded, I think Adrian's got to sit dead red. And let's just see how he handles it if he gets a strike.
Got an elevated fastball and fouled it back, full count.
A little bit of cheat in that philosophy right there, knowing he was getting a heater, but he got ball 4. You can see him disgusted with himself on deciding to swing at this pitch, but it's an up fastball and he was letting it go.
Here's a 3-2, and Gonzalez rounds it foul again.
Rajo went with a changeup. Got him out front, and Adrian's still alive, though.
Issue for Adrian's not been getting on base this year. He's got the highest on base percentage he's had since he was in Boston. It's been the power numbers that are down. Chance to drive in some insurance here in the 7th. And he gets hit. Rajo had to get away from him, and you heard him exclaim as soon as he let it go. Adrian gets an RBI the hard way. Seager's in, and it's 6-2. Really hard way. I mean, he's going to reach anyways because there's 3 balls on him, and he gets plunked.
Yeah, this RBI comes with an ice pack, and that'll be later after the game on that right tricep. You just hope it gets enough meat that there's nothing lingering. Fortunately, that ball went to the backstop, so it didn't get him ultimately where it stops and drops at your feet.
So now Grandal batting right-handed with the left-hander on the mound. 3 for 3 with a pair of singles and a home run. All against Vince Velasquez. 2-0. Grandal had the All-Star season last year. The All-Star first half was still rolling when August hit. But then it was here in Philadelphia where he took that foul tip off his shoulder while he was catching. Average was at 295 at that point. That was on August 6th last year. He went 6 for his last 94. And then had the surgery in the offseason. Slow start this year, battling other injury issues with his forearm, but healthy, and it's showing. 3 balls and no strikes. Michael Marriott loosening for the Phillies. Strike 1. In this inning, Utley walked. Seager doubled. Turner reached on what was ruled a single, but should have been caught by Howard. Fielder's choice and a hit batsman. 3-2 on Grandal. Just misses, and it's 7-2. Grandal has reached all 4 times. In to score is Turner. And this has turned into a nightmare for the Phillies right now.
A breaking ball through a 3-2 changeup to Adrian Gonzalez that he fouled off before he got hit by a pitch. This one misses low and away. Couple of forced-in RBIs for the last two Dodger hitters.
30-pitch inning for Araujo. The Nuggets, Jock Peterson, left-hander on left-hander. That's why he's still in there. Right-handed batting Kendrick due next. Up and in for ball one. Peterson struck out twice and then walked. And he just can't find the plate right now. It's to be a lonely feeling.
Yeah, the body language after every pitch right now is not good. A lot of disappointment after he throws the ball. 3 good hitters counts for the last 3 hitters. Nobody's had to hit the ball yet, but this one might surprise you right here if he throws a strike.
Generous strike. 2-1. Jock saying don't help him.
You shouldn't get the borderline pitch when you've been as wild as he's been.
He's spoken like a hitter. Three and one.
He didn't get the borderline call both sides of the plate at least. Maybe Jock's talking Ram Coppola behind the plate. Maybe his cross-examination on the pitch before that helped.
Culpa, Major League umpire since 1992. Ball 4 on Peterson. 3rd consecutive run that scored in this inning without the Dodgers putting the ball in play to plate those 3 runs. Reddick steps on home and it's 8-2. And now McCannon will make a change with the right-handed hitter coming up. This is an inning that Araujo would like to forget. Walks 3 in the inning, gives up 2 hits and hits a man. The 3 runners on base, his responsibility. Already 3 runs charged to him. By Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop online at choosenissan.com. And by Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We treat kids better. On a double switch, Jimmy Paredes comes into the game in left. And Michael Marriott. And here it's a bases loaded situation with the Dodgers having already scored 3 runs in the inning on a hit batsman and 2 walks. Howie Kendrick 3 for 3 tonight, takes a little more of the same. Ball 1, nowhere close.
Marriott trying to put the fire out. Dodgers trying to keep it lit.
That average above 280 now for Kendrick. Highest mark all year. On 1-1. Fouls it back 1-2. Talked about Grandal battling through injuries earlier this year with a forearm. With Kendrick, it was the calf. That abbreviated spring training forced him to start the year on the disabled list. Two and two. And Marriott gets a big strikeout. Second out of the inning as Kendrick goes down. First time the Phillies have retired Kendrick tonight. Katamaeda's night is officially finished because Rob Segedin has been introduced as a pinch hitter with the bases jammed here in the seventh. His 8th major league game. Playing it not too far from where he grew up. Northern New Jersey, a couple-hour drive from here. His wife Robin due with their first child. Due date's the 22nd. Backs over the inside edge, 1-1.
This small opportunity so far, he's really made an impact and made an impression on some Dodger teammates and personnel up in the front office. Has not been overwhelmed by any situation and really looks locked in at the plate. Like he feels like he can hit any big leaguer you put on the mound.
First one that he hit was David Price. In his debut on August 7th, set a Dodger record with 4 RBIs in his debut game. Breaking ball is ripped to left field, a base hit. Gonzalez in to score, and they go station to station on an RBI single from Rob Segedin. 9-2 Dodgers.
Turns the lineup over, gives Chase Utley another opportunity here and hit with the bases loaded. Stays on that breaking ball up, doesn't try to do too much with it. Hits the ball so hard that even with 2 outs, you can't score a guy from left field from second base.
Nutley started this inning with a walk, what feels like forever ago. It's one of 3 walks issued by Elvis Araujo. Marriott came on, struck out Kendrick, gave up the single to Segedin. And now the second at bat of the inning for Utley. So we're talking about the curtain calls on the road. Pretty sure Mike Piazza got one as a Padre back at Shea Stadium. Utley got one tonight. After his 9th home run of the season. 1-1.
As you get older, the young pitchers think they can sneak fastballs by you because your bat speed's going down. Well, Utley hit a 96-mile-an-hour 4-seamer on a 2-2 pitch that was up. He didn't swing and miss at it. He planted it over the wall.
And he hammers another way back to right field. He is the man. Unbelievable.
For 13 years, they stood and cheered him. And now he comes back, and he is showing them exactly why they cheered for him during that 13-year span. What a night for Chase Utley.
It's a grand slam, just like he had for his very first hit as a Philadelphia Philly back in 2013. It's his second home run of the night. And it's a 13-run outburst for the Dodgers. Seventh career grand slam for Chase Utley. It's a multi-homer game for him. And boy, does he pick his spots to have big nights. Remember the last time he had a night like this? Or one of the other significant times? It's in New York. Right after they threw behind him in retaliation for the slide in last year's postseason. Seager down on strikes on a night that's been owned by Chase Utley. It was owned by Utley before he even arrived tonight. And then he's followed up the ovation with a home run and a grand slam. 5 runs driven in his return to Philadelphia. With a grand slam from Chase Utley and a 13-2 Dodger lead. And celebrate rookie all-star shortstop Corey Seager Thursday, August 25th, when the Dodgers play host to the Giants. First 40,000 fans receive one. Presented by your Southern California BMW centers. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions for tickets. Some defensive changes. I don't know what Chase Utley's done to deserve the rest of the night off, but Kike Hernandez comes in for him. And Rob Segedin, after pinch hitting, is over at third. He gives the ball to Pedro Baez, who takes over for Kenta Maeda.
Pedro's been very effective this year, limiting opponents to a 168 batting average, which is 7th in the National League. And that whip of his is awfully low, too. That's 3rd in the National League relievers at .83.
And faces the middle third of the Phillies order. Maikel Franco takes ball 1 at 98 miles per hour. So Maeda's day's finished and sitting pretty, trying to get another victory. It'd be his 4th in a row. This would be the Dodgers' 5th consecutive win in a game started by Kenta. Giants and Pirates starting in about 15 minutes in San Francisco. The Dodgers 3 innings away from being in a first-place tie going into that game. Franco back up the middle and off of the glove of Hernandez into center. We welcome you back inside. I think we knew that this would be a special night for Chase Utley, and everybody here honoring Chase Utley and his return to Philadelphia. And we welcome you back inside here. But I mean, my goodness, this is turned into something else special. For Chase.
Yeah, it's almost like a welcome home. And I'm sorry, I'm a Dodger people, but this is what you're missing. You know, 5 RBIs, 129th home run in this ballpark. Chase has had quite a night and deserves these last 3 innings off.
7th career grand slam for him. We're going to have to redo all those greatest Chase Utley moments in Phillies history, although I guess this is maybe a different list than the greatest Phillies moments. But you wouldn't know that by the fans' reactions. They reacted as if their own player had hit the solo home run, and as if their own player had hit the grand slam.
You asked me the question, have you ever seen a road player get a curtain call on the road from the home fans? And well, I'm not sure we've seen the same guy get 2 in the same night.
There is no way.
There's no way.
No.
It's got to be a one of a kind.
For a one of a kind player. Ryan Howard fouls it off, and it's 0-2. The 8-run inning, by the way, is the largest inning of the season for the Dodgers. They had scored 6 runs in an inning twice, most recently against St. Louis. The first inning of that Sunday night game a few weeks back.
8 runs on 4 hits. It tells you there was some wildness on the mound.
That one sails past Grandal. Up the second goes Franco. You talked earlier tonight about the 2 happiest times of the season. First, when you come out of spring training with a fresh slate. Second, when you're in a race late. The other side of that would be when you're out of the race, have missed the playoffs 4 years in a row, and give up 8 runs in an inning in a mid-August game where it's 100 degrees, where you only give up 4 hits in the inning.
That is definitely the other side of the coin.
Dog days for the Phillies.
People come up to me all the time and say, do you miss pitching? And I say back, I miss pitching well. I don't miss nights like this on the Phillies side.
Yeah.
You don't miss these at all.
Dog day for the Phillies, really, because they come in having won 4 in a row. They're 8-4 in August. Baez to Howard with a 1-2 pitch. Howard unloads on a skyscraper to center. And it is gone. Turn back the clock night here in Philly.
Dave Roberts said that Chase Utley inspires all 24 guys on the field. You have to look past his statistics. Has he inspired his old friend Ryan Howard tonight after that swing? Watching Chase's performance. Age not getting to either one of those 2 combatants tonight. Ryan Howard with an old expression and a very old and outstanding swing.
Home run number 374 in Ryan Howard's career. And suddenly you think, thank goodness for the 8th spot at the top of this inning. Cameron Rupp has gone deep tonight and takes strike 1 from Baez. Ryan Howard is the fastest player in Major League history to the 100 homer mark. He was the fastest player in Major League history to the 200 homer mark. That's number 374 for him. First 8 seasons, Howard averaged 36 homers a year. Remember back to the postseason in 2011, very final play of the season for the Phillies. He tore his Achilles on a ground ball running out of the box. Has not been the same guy since. 36 years old now. He's in the final guaranteed year of his deal. He said that he wants to play next year somewhere. Team option for next season. You don't figure the Phillies would pick it up.
He is now 76th all-time Major League Baseball home run hitter in history. He just broke the tie with Rocky Colavito. Next on the list is Mr. Carlton Fisk, a home run away. Probably wants to play somewhere next year because it's not out of his system yet, and he's getting real close to 400.
And at least recently, he's showing that he can still be a productive player. It's his 4th home run in 8 games this month. Yeah, fastball gets rough for the first out of the inning. Most runs in a game for the Dodgers, in case you're wondering, with a couple of chances here left in this one. 15 still on opening day in that 15-0 win against San Diego. They have more runs than they have hits tonight. 13 runs on 12 hits and a bunch of walks. Freddie Galvis taking ball 1. Galvis signed out of Venezuela when he was 16. Made his debut in 2012 at second when Chase Utley was dealing with those knee problems. Since moved to short, with Jimmy Rollins vacating that spot prior to last season. Shortstop's a spot that he grew up playing. Grew up admiring Omar Vizquel. So many did. Where's his number? Three and 0. Grandal's out to talk with Pedro.
Pedro's body language says he didn't want to hear it, but you're not going to get a visit from your catcher if you're 1-2 or 0-2 or 2-1, but 3-0, you're going to get a visit. I don't care what you feel about it. Real important for Pedro's growth for him not to let this inning get out of control. It's one thing to give up that base hit and home run. It's another thing to get right back in the strike zone, get your team in the dugout, not have to get anybody up in the bullpen. The second part of your job is to protect your guys down there in the pen. Bullpen functions best when everybody does their role, and even if you start your own fire or get in trouble in this kind of situation, can you eat some innings and get some outs?
Galvis to pop up after falling behind 3-0, and it's Kike Hernandez drifting out there to make the play for out number 2.
What is known as a good visit from Yasmani Grandal. Perturbed as Pedro Baez with the visit. It got him back in the strike zone, got him an out, and now hopefully get him in the dugout.
Peter Borges with the bases empty. 2 out in the 7th. All 13 runs for the Dodgers tonight coming in the last 3 innings. And hardly anything as far as traffic against Vince Velasquez. Struck out the side in the first inning. Had 7 Ks over the first 4 scoreless frames. But the Dodgers getting 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 8 in the 7th. Borges 0 for 2. He's in his first week back since injuring his shoulder, crashing into the wall, taking away what would have been 2,999 on Ichiro's career hit list. But missed 2 weeks with a shoulder injury, and collision with the wall taking the hit away. Baez flames one in 99 to finish the inning. Single and a homer, and then he goes 1, 2, 3. We go to the 8th. the wild card hunt right now. Dodgers right now firmly in position to the top wild card spot, right at the heels of the Giants in the division. Behind the Dodgers, the teams battling for the second wild card spot. Reds beating the Marlins. Cardinals and Astros are tied in the 6th inning. So this is what the wild card picture looks like right now. Noteworthy, Pittsburgh playing for something when they take on the Giants in just a little bit. Starting about 15 minutes in San Francisco. Pittsburgh's won 3 in a row. Jamison Taillon goes tonight for Pittsburgh against Jeff Samardzija. Kike Hernandez comes out of his shoes at a first pitch breaking ball and fouls it for strike 1. Replacing Justin Turner in the lineup. One ball and 1 strike. TK limited duty since coming back from the disabled list. Looking for his first hit since August 7th. Softly hit to third. Franco's got it and has Hernandez. Two more left in this series before the 4-game wraparound series Friday through Monday in Cincinnati. Scott Kazmir and Jake Thompson starting pitching matchup tomorrow. And Ross Stripling goes on Thursday against Jared Eichhoff. The finale on Wednesday night or on Thursday night. Josh Reddick looks at ball 1. Dodgers with the fewest games against teams with records of 500 or better of anybody in the National League down the stretch. Trying to win the ones they should. See if Reddick gets one to drive instead of drifts away, and he goes ahead of the count 3-0 on Marriott. Reddick is 0 for 4, reached on a fielder's choice and scored as part of that 8-run 7. 3-1. And ball 4. Now the Dodgers since the beginning of July, so since Clayton Kershaw went down, have had the #2 offense in the National League as far as runs per game. Now make of this what you will. I mean, this is interesting. It's really been feast or famine the last few weeks. Last 19 games now, they've scored 8 or more 8 times. They've scored 3 or fewer 10 times. It's only been 1 game out of the last 19 where they've been actually right around the average.
Yeah, you'd rather take it 5 runs a game, 6 runs a game than have those 8+ nights, and the ones under 3 are not real good. But if you can win all the ones where you have the big night, and if you win some of those ones when you have a flat tire, that's about a championship season as far as a baseball team's record is concerned.
Just odd that there's nothing around average during this stretch. Adrian's 1 for 3, scored twice, brought in a run when he was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded last inning. 1-2. That was last inning.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see him still in there. He wants to be in there. It means his arm didn't get hurt when he got hit. Resting Chase Utley now, resting Justin Turner, but Adrian's still in there.
Trying to trademark of his. 156 or more games played in 10 consecutive seasons. More games played than anybody in the majors over the last decade. Lifts one to the left. Jimmy Paredes with room inside the line. What a night it's been for Grandal. Of course, the headlines are going to be all Chase Utley's, as they should be, but lost in the headline will be his night. 3 for 3. He's reached all 4 times. Brought home a run with a walk his last time. Ball 1.
Back to the more comfortable and more powerful side of the plate for him as a switch hitter.
Three and 1, the former first-round draft pick of the Reds. Now from the Reds to the Padres. Padres to the Dodgers and the Matt Kemp deal. 3 and 2. Grew up in Miami, Grandal did, but he was born in Cuba. And moved to the United States when he was 10, had a much different path than a lot of the guys you hear about. He was able to move when his family won a lottery in Cuba that allowed them to immigrate legally. Fly ball into deep center. Herrera's back at the edge of the track to put it away and bring the top of the 8th to a close. Is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Carl's Jr. Introducing the Bacon 3-Way Burger only at Carl's Jr. Hall of Famers broadcasting royalty there. Bob Miller, Chick Hearn, and of course Vin Scully. Picture taken 15 years ago at a function. What a function that had to be to be at. All 3 of those guys sharing stories. All kinds of changes for the Dodgers. Rob Seguin moves from 3rd to 1st. Chris Taylor comes in at 3rd. And J.P. Howell enters the game to pitch with the Dodgers in front 13-4.
Aren't those guys glad, like Seguin and Taylor, that they made it to the big leagues in time to hear Vin Scully's call of one of their at-bats or one of their plays?
Seguin's first major league hit. And Vin's voice on it. Jimmy Paredes lines one to left center for a base hit. It was here in Philadelphia, actually, that Vin Scully made his major league announcing debut. 1950. Opening day, April 18th at Old Shibe Park. Park that preceded Veterans Stadium as the home of the Phillies. Called the third inning, called the seventh inning. Sharing the call with Red Barber and Connie Desmond. Red Barber introduced him as a young fella I hope you're going to like. And then Vin took over for that third inning. Roy Campanella singled to start Vin's play-by-play career. At that point, he still lived with his parents in New Jersey. So Vin took the train from Jersey down here to Philadelphia. Hopped in a cab, went to Shibe Park. Said the one thing that he remembers is he was terrified going into that first game. A little more relaxed for his second inning that night after he was so nervous for the third inning. In a game that featured Don Newcomb as the starting pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers and Robin Roberts and the Whiz Kids, the Phillies, who would go on to win the division that year and win the pennant that year, 1950. First game in a 67-year career. Little jam shot right side of the infield. Hernandez has it and nobody home at first. No man's land, 2 on and nobody out.
Maybe a little bit assumption by J.P. Howell, and thinking that the angle of this ball off the bat, for most pitchers you're thinking it's infielders taking control, and it was. He just kind of hopped and watched the play instead of getting over. But Seguin wandered off first a long way to his right, and Kike wandered left, and there was nobody home at first.
So now Dubal Herrera. Hitless in his 3 ABs.
The parts of the Vinny stories that I always love are the behind-the-scenes stuff. The nerves, the taking of the train, the guy he sat next to on the bus and talked about the game that night. Because players back then were so much closer. And you traveled with them and you watched over them and ate with them all the time. It's a little different generation now.
That's smacked into center. A base hit for Herrera. Hold the runners, bases loaded with nobody out against Howell. Yeah, the one thing, or one of the many things that Red Barber warned Vin Scully about was don't get too close to the players because it'll cloud your judgment when you're calling plays. You know, you like a guy more, it'll skew the way you call the play, or vice versa. But here's a 22-year-old kid, same age as many of the guys that he's on, like you said, these trains with. Impossible not to develop close and, for Vin, lifelong relationships with the players that he was covering. Tommy Joseph batting for the first time. Phillies trying to cut into this 9-run deficit. Joseph lifting a fly ball for Peterson that will bring home 1. That's a 13-5 score and an RBI for Tommy Joseph.
And the total right strategy for J.P. Howell. Trade outs for runs right here. That's winning baseball, winning pitching. They're upset that you gave up the 3 hits to load the bases, but now the right thing to do is just trade outs for runs. Don't worry about your ERA. Just get the inning over with as soon as you can. And limit the damage to at least 2 runs, maybe 3.
At the corners for Franco. One for 3, now 2 for his last 18. Big hat, strike 1. We've seen tonight Chase Utley's short swing. There's the opposite.
Exactly. Yeah, you bring up Chase Utley, and this really has been his night, the welcome home from the Phillies fan. But it reminds me, too, of Chase Utley being the role model for this generation, and also taking on and really wrapping his arms around being a mentor. And me thinking about Vin Scully, as we talked about him this year, of what a mentor and role model he was to all announcers. And I can tell you as a player what a mentor, what a role model he was as a player looking at a broadcaster that was through and through a Dodger. The way he conducted himself when you saw fans greet him, or when you saw people around the hotel as they tried to service us, from the bellmen to the desk clerks, how he treats people. You get an image of what you're supposed to be like to be a big leaguer.
Howard gets Franco, brings up Ryan Howard with men at the corners and 2 gone. And a 13-5 game in the 8th. I'm a self-described broadcasting nerd, so I started paying attention to play-by-play guys when I was probably in junior high, and with the way the internet has changed the access, it would be the East Coast and Central Time Zone games would finish, and that would be the time where you'd flip on Vin and get to listen to him with the West Coast game starting for us people in the East. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that have enjoyed being able to take in Vin's calls over the recent years with the proliferation of the MLB TV app, the MLB radio streaming prior to that. Listen to the first 3 innings of those home games.
There's not one guy that I have worked with over the time that I've been a broadcaster now for the last 11 years or so that has not made a comment to me about Vin, saying something very generous and kind about Vin, and saying what an impact he's made on their lives and changed their thoughts about broadcasting and how to do it.
2-2 on Ryan Howard.
John Hartung back in the studio, not there tonight. Alana's hosting back there, but he has mentioned how much Vin was a role model to him. Dan Schulman, who I worked alongside on Sunday Night Baseball for ESPN. Vin Scully was right up there on the Mount Rushmore of people he listened to.
So much to be learned every time you flip on a Vin broadcast. That goes for anybody, not just broadcasters, right? I mean,
right.
Every fan learns something when you get to listen to him do a game. Howell gets Howard to limit the damage here in the 8th inning. That's learning about baseball, and it's learning about much more when you get to listen to Vin.
Garvey and Ned Colletti will be in studio. Plus, I'll bring you interviews and reactions from the clubhouse coming up after the game on Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers. Guys, I have a feeling I might be talking to some guy named Chase Utley.
And I got a feeling you're not going to be alone. I bet there's quite a following of media. In fact, no, there are. They had a press conference for him before the game. There's Severino Gonzalez. They did not hold a press conference for him prior to the game, but he's here in his 18th game this season, ready to pitch against Jock Peterson.
272 career Major League home runs on the post-game desk there, none by Colletti or Rizzo.
He whistles one inside for ball one to Peterson. Underway in San Francisco. Pirates, by the way, already threatening. Top of the first inning, they have men at the corners against Jeff Samardzija. Peterson cranks one to right center field, and it sails by Herrera and bounces over the wall. So a ground rule double for Jock Peterson, who continues to look dialed in.
I want you to check your StatCast in a little bit and tell me what the exit velocity on this one is, because Howie Kendricks, what was that, 109? This ball was scorched just at a little lower launch angle. I think that's why he didn't get the home run, because that ball was ripped and barreled up. It sounded good, it looks good, and it's a two-bagger.
Ball one on Howie Kendrick, who, as you mentioned, had that home run earlier. 109 miles per hour off of the bat. 3 for 4. I'm checking for you, just hasn't updated yet. Here it is, 108.
108.
Just about the same as Kendrick's home run.
The guys will go inside later after the game, and as they're kind of getting refreshed and getting ready to put their street clothes on, they'll eyeball those exit velocities and kind of chide each other. Who had the hardest hit ball tonight? One guy will hit a hard one, like you said, the hardest ever, what, 123?
123.9.
But it was a ground out.
Yeah.
Or a ground single, and then the other guy will go, wow, you might have had more exit velocity, but I got more stats.
Kendrick pushes a fly ball to right center. Herrera's over, and it's off the wall. His 4th hit of the night. And Howie's on his way to third with a triple. Peterson scores 14-5. And Kendrick a double shy of the cycle.
One hit a little higher angle than his home run, but in the right spot here. Jock goes to one gap. Howie goes to this gap, and oh, that one hit off of the Tampa Bay abbreviation up there, 3/4 of the way up the scoreboard.
Strike one on Rob Sagadin. If StatCast data had been available while you were playing, would you have looked at it and used it for anything?
As a pitcher?
Yeah. How about like the spin rate and such?
Oh, spin rate I might look at, yeah. I don't know what I'd probably look at it on the sinker to see how much vertical and horizontal movement on certain days. Because what you think is flat might not have been flat, so you don't need to make the mechanical adjustments, or what you think you had good depth and you had a really good one, but maybe you didn't. And then you could compare that with some velocity or effort that you made on pitches, just depending on how you could match that up to create the movement. Because so much in the early coaching days or early philosophical days of pitching, you could overthrow your sinking fastball and kind of throw through the spin. And so I always felt that it was just a lack of patience, not too much velocity.
Sagadin grounds it back of third. That's a foul ball.
When you throw through a sinker, in my mind, or the movement is not there, but the ball's going harder, your hand is more behind the baseball than on top of the baseball, where you can create the spin and the downward movement. And it really has been proven with these guys that are pitching now, and you go back to even like a Kevin Brown, that you can throw a powerful sinker, a powerful two-seamer.
And there are now ways to measure that. How powerful.
Yep.
Outside on second and battling Gonzalez. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A run down at third, by the way, represents something significant. If Kendrick scores, Dodgers will have matched a season high in runs. Going back to opening day in the 15-0 win against San Diego. Finished that day on pace to be the greatest team in sports history. Second and rolls it to third, and they will tie the season high. In to score is Kendrick, and the Dodgers have scored 15 runs for the first time since opening day.
They broke camp with 15 runs, and maybe they're just going to start to peak at the right time. This offense really kind of floundered through the first half. But the second half, you see the youngsters continue to produce, and the veterans have all come around, and the power has really started to surge.
Chris Taylor's first at bat. Through the half inning in San Francisco. Pirates 1, Giants nothing. So the Dodgers 3 outs away from being even with the Giants for first place. And at this rate, it's not going to be hard to stay up to see the outcome of that game. Hernandez throws Taylor out. The team won't even be back to the hotel until the middle or late innings of that game.
Before the Dodgers get to sleep, they'll know if they're a half game in first or a half game out of first.
One thing's a near certainty, and that is that they'll at least be tied for first in just a few minutes for only the second time since mid-May. Ball one on Corey Seager all the way to the backstop. Dodgers have not been alone in first since May 10th. And when you flip on Dodger baseball tomorrow night for game 2 of this series, there's a chance that they could be sitting alone at the top of the West. Opposite field liner that Paredes comes on to pull in. On to the bottom of the 9th inning. A season high for the Dodgers with these 15 runs. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com app, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet, and you're going to need it this final couple of months. A.J. Ellis is in, so Dave Roberts has unloaded his bench. And guess who's back on the mound? It's Casey Feem with his first appearance in about a month on the disabled list with the elbow tendonitis. Rehabbed in the Arizona League and then Rancho Cucamonga in the Cal League. Here he is back with the Dodgers for the stretch run.
Missed about 24 games with that right elbow tendonitis, little inflammation in there, but feeling real good about the arm and the way the ball's coming out right now. And you can see he's got his game face on, whether it's 15-5 or it's a tight ball game. He is going to give you his best.
This is Cameron Rupp, who started the scoring tonight with a solo homer against Maeda in the second. It was still 1-0 after 4 innings. 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 8 in the 7th, and 2 in the 9th for the Dodgers as Feem overthrows the first one. Ball 1.
Pitch like that happens when you start to explode from the backside before the front side hits, and you have a tendency to jerk it down like that. Put a governor on the adrenaline right there.
Well, with that pitch, Casey Feem is now officially pitched in every major league ballpark. This is final one. Soft fly ball to right. Josh Reddick under it. Oh, and he misplays it. Don't know if he lost it in the lights or just got a little too casual. We've seen him misplay a few balls in right, but typically the issue's been the bright sunshine at Dodger Stadium.
This is an oddity for Casey for Josh Reddick. You just take that for granted in the big leagues.
And so a 2-base error. Puts a runner at second to start this inning. And Freddie Galvis to the plate, 1 for 3. Feem was remarking, as many were, about the humidity here in Philadelphia. But while he was rehabbing in Arizona, one of his games came on a day where it was 117 degrees.
But it was a dry heat.
Yeah, right.
This is going to be a humid road trip. When we head to Cincinnati, you're not going to get much of a break there.
Popped up by Galvis. Everybody converging. Kendrick is over to make the play. Barely with enough room.
Well, now you got a chance to pitch around that error in right field and save that run. Make Josh Reddick feel a little bit better about watching that play.
Borges comes up. So really the Giants are going to have 2 games played between this game and the Dodgers' next game, because the Giants just got started against the Pirates and trail 1-0 in the bottom of the first. They'll play the Pirates at 12:45 Pacific tomorrow. So when the Dodgers get here to face the Phillies in the second game, Giants will have played 2 since their last time here. Borges to third. Chris Taylor cuts it off. And they're 1 out away from first place.
Yeah, if the Giants play a typical 3-hour game tomorrow before the Dodgers start the game here in Philly, they'll know the results of both of those games.
So conceivably, the Dodgers could be alone in first for like a few hours, and then the Giants, so say the Giants lost tonight to put the Dodgers up by half game, before the Dodgers even get to play as the lone first place team. The Giants could go in tomorrow and be even again with the 2 games between.
But then the Giants or the Dodgers could win and be a half game up at the end of the night.
Yeah. Ball 1 on Jimmy Paredes.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow and beyond. But everybody kind of agrees on at this point is those 9 games head to head will be what decides it. 6 at Dodger Stadium, 3 in San Francisco. First 3 of those 9 remaining head to head when the Dodgers return home next week. And the last 3 on the final days of the regular season in San Francisco. Scott Kazmir for the Dodgers. Jake Thompson, who's only made a few major league appearances and has an ERA of 8.68 for the Phillies tomorrow. Same place, same time. Fiends 2-1. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
I love the fact that he's throwing backdoor sliders after coming back from elbow inflammation. It tells me he's completely healed and confident. Torque that arm a little bit. Arm is feeling good.
Paredes cracks a fly ball to center. Peterson all the way back to the wall with room. And that does it. They match a season high with 15 runs. And the Dodgers are in first place. 66-52 from 8 games back to a tie with the Giants for the 2nd time since mid-May. Giants playing the Pirates right now. They'll play them again tomorrow afternoon. And then the Dodgers and Phillies will play game 2 tomorrow night. Our Lexus player of the game, an easy decision. What a memorable night for Chase Utley in his first game back.